I'm the 1-minute reading tutor, and I'm here with all 8 rules of our Syllable Division Bootcamp. Here's a summary of the rules we're going to be learning about. And remember, these rules are for reading. They might not be how a dictionary divides the words. So our first rule is we are going to divide between 2 consonants. Letters that are part of a blend will stay together. We will learn more about blends in Rule 4. So we have 2 consonants right next to each other. They might be the same or they might be different, and we are going to split between them. Here, here, right here, here, between the 2 N's and between the 2 P's. Vowels in the middle of a syllable will generally have their short sound, so we will try that sound. So this will have a short I sound of I, short U sound of This will have a short A of a, and a short O sound of ah. So we will have dimmer, slimmer, bummer, rabbit, pinning, and hopping. So I want you to try these 5 words. Pause the video, think about where you would divide the words into syllables, and then come back and see how you did. We're going to split between the 2 consonants. You'll notice these 4 words, they have 2 consonants that are the same. This one has 2 consonants that are different, but we could still use the rule. Vowels in the middle of the syllable have the short sound, generally, so we will try that first. Hobbit, flipping, running, rubbing, canter. Now, for words like this with a suffix of ing, there is another way you could divide it, but it would get you the same pronunciation. And since these rules are about reading, not about writing things in the dictionary or splitting words when you get to the end of a line in a newspaper, so it doesn't really matter whether you use this rule or divide after a suffix, which we will get to in a later rule. Either way, we will pronounce the word the same way. I want you to pause the video and try these nonsense words. These are fake words, made up words, just to see if you understand the rule. Is this how you divided the words? Between the 2 consonants and using the short vowel sounds? Flibbit, pexer, tomper, shunper, gunder. Our next rule is we're going to divide after a vowel before 1 consonant. So right here we have 1 consonant with a vowel before it. So we will divide it here, 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 and here. Now, vowels at the end of a syllable will generally use their long sound. So we will try that sound first. In reality, once we get to longer words and we have some syllables that are accented or emphasized and others that are not, some of the long sounds will disappear and become muffled. But this rule works pretty well for short words, and it works well enough for longer words that even if you don't pronounce it correctly, people can figure out what you mean. So we want the long I sound of I for these 2 words. The long U sound, which has 2 sounds, oo and u. Here we want the U after the C. A long A sound of A, I, and E. So diner, slimer, cupid, fader, final, demote. Pause the video and use this new rule to see how you do with these 5 words. We're going to divide after a vowel before a single consonant or this consonant blend. We will cover the blends in another rule. Vowels ending the syllables, we will try the long sound first. Open, replete, blatant, reply, shady. Now, the Y makes things more complicated. Y at the end of a syllable, if it's not the last syllable, often says the long I sound of I, and it does it in this word here, reply. Most of the time, at the end of a multi-syllable word, the Y is the suffix with the long sound of E, like in shady. So if you're not sure, and it is the last syllable of the word, and it's not a short one-syllable word, try the long E sound first, like in shady. That will be right most of the time. If it is any syllable other than the last, try the long I sound first. Now here are some more nonsense made-up words. I want you to use this rule and divide them into syllables, and then come back and see how you do. Okay, here we have pofer, yiner. Right here, we're going to try the long E sound because this is at the end of a multi-syllable word, and the long E sound will be more common than the long I sound. So, gopy. Right here, this is not the last syllable, so the long I sound will be likely the right one. So we will try that. Liper, doofer. This rule is a pretty easy rule. It's just to divide between words in a syllable that is a compound, in a word that is a compound word made up of multiple words. Now, as you'll see, I will be dividing between the words. Some of these words might have multiple syllables within the word. That's not the case on this first screen though. So we're going to divide between the words bath and tub to get bathtub. Here we have rowboat, lipstick. Oh, right here, this one. This is the word baby. It has 2 syllables. And here's the word sit. So I divided here for babysit, although this actually has 2 syllables. Football and mailbox. So try that with these compound words. Divide between the 2 words. Snowball, birthday, anyone. Right here, any has 2 syllables, but it's 1 word, so we're just leaving it like this. Sunrise, eyeball. Here are some nonsense words. These are compound words where I took some real words and put them together. I want you to divide between the words. Don't worry about if any of the words have multiple syllables. Bat snow, dog tub, cat house, baby ball. So baby has 2 syllables, but we're just splitting between the words here. Ball rain. Now, for this rule, we are going to divide before or after blends. There's a list of blends in the video's description. So, right here, N and D are a blend. These are 2 letters that are good friends and they want to stay together. So we have 3 consonants here. So you might wonder, do I split here or do I split here? Well, N and D are glued together. They stay together, so we split here to have grandma. C and K stay together, and S and T are a blend that stay together. So we split right here to get trickster. Right here, we have 3 consonants. S and T are good friends, so they want to stay together, so we split here. These I's are in the middle of a syllable, so we try the short sound, lipstick. You could also divide this word here between the words lip and stick. Right here, we have 3 consonants. T and R are a blend, so they stay together, so we're going to split here. So we have central. Central. Now, you might think it should be central, but that is hard to say, and this is the accented syllable, so this A sound schwas and becomes a muffled sound, which happens a lot in English words, especially as the words get longer. P and L are a blend, so they stay together, and we split here. Complete. Here we have at the beginning of the word a 3-letter blend, and we have another blend here, TCH, So we are going to actually split right here after the blend. Oh, let's go back. We split after the blend. We could also use the rule that we are going to get to later of splitting before a suffix. Scratcher. Now you try it. Okay, S and P are a blend. They stay together, so we are going to split before it. This is an E at the end of the syllable, so it will have the long sound. Respect. B and R are a blend, so they stay together and we split here. Vowels that start the syllable will generally have the short sound. Embrace. We have a blend that stays together, split here, complete. T and R are a blend, so we're going to split here. And we're going to use our rule of after a vowel before a single consonant to split here. Introduce. And G and R are a blend, so they stay together, split here. Digraph. Try it with these nonsense words. Low truck. Plew slip. We flock. In drum. Y is at the end of a syllable. That is not the last syllable, so we will try the long I sound first. Zyskrid. Now we are going to divide between certain combinations of vowels that do not make one sound. You can find a list of these in the video's description. I've also placed it here. So these are groups of vowels that we will usually divide between them, because each vowel retains a sound. So we are going to divide between the I and the O. It's on our list here. An important thing to remember is that an I before an A, an O, or a U often has a long E sound of E. So if it's before an A, O, or U, try the long E sound before trying the long I sound. So this would be radio. We're going to split between the U and the A. It's on our list. Dual. Split between the U and the O. Duo. Split here. Trio. We're going to split between the U and the A. And then after a vowel, before a single consonant. Manual. Now, you might think it would be manual, but this one is pronounced manual. So remember, the rule about trying the long sound for a vowel at the end of a syllable is not something that happens all the time. It's just you have to try a vowel sound first, and that's the one that works most of the time. So we try that first. And if it doesn't work, then we try another vowel sound. We're going to split here, and we have fluent. So you split between the vowels and see how you do. Truant. Actual. Right here we're splitting between our two consonants. Same thing here. Factual. After a vowel before a single consonant and between our two vowels. Ohio and bio. Our next rule is we are going to divide after prefixes and before suffixes. You can find a list of these in the video's description. Now, where this rule comes in handy is once you get to very long words, because many words in English actually have multiple prefixes and suffixes in them. And if you can recognize them, it can turn a long word into something that is easy to read. Here we have the prefix trans, so we're going to split here, and we have transfix. We have the prefix in, so we split here, inform. Here we have the prefix re and the suffix ish, so after the prefix, before the suffix, replenish. Here we have two prefixes. We have miss and we have in, misinform. Here we have the suffix full, and here we're going to split between two consonants, and this becomes plentiful. Now you might wonder why it's not plentiful. Well, that's because the root of this word is plenty, and plenty has a Y, not an I. But for spelling purposes, the Y turns into an I but we retain the plenty sound, or it gets the short I, plentiful. Here we have the suffix shun, so we have nation. All right, try these. Use the list of prefixes and suffixes from the video's description if you need it. Okay, we have shun, after a vowel before a single consonant, vacation. Now, I know this is actually 2 syllables, but it's 1 prefix, so I just left it as 1 chunk here. Antibody. Here we have the suffix teacher. Prefix in, suffix or, inventor. Here we have the suffix ity. So the tiv stays together. We're not dividing between the I and the V because we have this suffix here. And we split between the 2 consonants. Activity. And the root of that is the word active. If you have multi-syllable words that end in LE, you want to divide 3 letters from the end. Remember, this does not work with 1-syllable words. So we have a word here. It has 2 vowel sounds, so we have 2 syllables. So we want to split 3 letters from the end. So this syllable will have the short E sound of eh. So we will have kettle. Now, what is the purpose of this E here? This E doesn't do anything as far as a sound, but in English spelling, every syllable needs a vowel. You can say the sound toll, those 2 sounds together, without needing a vowel sound coming out of your mouth. You don't need a vowel between the T and the L to change the shape of your mouth. But we're not going to have a word with just TL as a syllable. We just don't do that. So we stick an E here, even though it doesn't do anything. So we are going to split 3 letters from the end and have table. Once again, this E doesn't do anything except ensure that we have a syllable with a vowel in it. Fable, maple, apple. Okay, right here we have a Y at the end of a syllable. That is not the last syllable, so we want to try the long I sound first. Cycle. Remember, a C before an E, I, or Y says S, so we have cycle. All right, try it with these 5 words. Remember to divide 3 letters from the end. Ankle, ample, Bible, title, uncle. Now, if a word has multiple syllables and it ends in EL, we want to divide 2 letters from the end. So, camel, intel. This word, you could also divide it right here with the prefix in, but it doesn't matter because we would still pronounce it intel. Level, panel, vowel, and revel. You try it with these words. Model, jewel, cruel, chapel, vessel. You could also divide vessel right here between the 2 consonants and we would end up with the same pronunciation. We are going to try some words using all of our rules. Now we have some longer words here, so I recommend as a starting place to look for prefixes and suffixes. Then use the other rules. All right, here we have the prefix D and the suffix ent, dependent. We have the prefix un and the suffixes ing and ness, and that leaves us with unwillingness. Here we have a prefix miss, suffix meant, and I believe age is a suffix. Mismanagement. Remember, a G followed by an E, I, or a Y says J, except for some unusual words like the word get. Here we have the prefix in. We have the suffix ter. Even though this is a T, tur like that is hard to say, and often in English sounds more like chur with a CH sound when people pronounce it. And right here we have a blend that wants to stay together, so we're going to divide after the vowel before the blend. Infrastructure. You might wonder why it's not infrastructure. That's because this syllable in is accented or emphasized, and a long A sound in an unaccented syllable tends to disappear and become a muffled schwa sound of So instead of infrastructure, it's infrastructure. We're going to split between the U and the O, but this O and U stay together because this is the suffix us. We're going to split between two consonants, virtuous. And once again, instead of it sounding like two, like up here, it generally sort of sounds more like chew with a CH sound when people pronounce it in English. All right, try it with these words. Once again, I recommend starting with finding prefixes and suffixes. Okay, we have the prefix in, suffix us. We're going to divide between two consonants. This is a blend that stays together, so we divide between this blend and the R, and we divide between the I and the O. Industrious. This I is before an O, so we are going to try the long E sound. Prefix of un, suffixes of ing and ness. Unwillingness. Now we are going to divide after a vowel before a single consonant, here and here. And this OUS says us. And an important thing to note about this CI is CI in many words of, I think, Latin origin has a sh sound. So this is judicious. Now, you might wonder why this has a short I sound. It's because this syllable is not accented. So instead of being a long I sound of judicious, it becomes judicious. We have the prefix in, the suffix chur, divide after a vowel before a blend, infrastructure. Here we have the prefix con and the suffix shul. This SI, just like the CI, has a sh sound. So controversial. Here are some other resources that can help you. If you have a beginner reader, Phonics Pathways is a helpful book. If your reader is ready to start dividing things into syllables, this book is probably too easy. The phonicspage.org has many resources, including more lessons about dividing into syllables, so I can recommend their videos and their webpage, although they have so much stuff there that it can be a little overwhelming. Another book that can be helpful for reading, and even more than reading, spelling, is Denise Ide's book, Uncovering the Logic of English. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave a comment and like and subscribe and share the video with other parents.